Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to the video, and today we're here for another severe weather breakdown. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the SPC outlook for today, where we have an enhanced risk of severe weather over portions of west central Kansas and south central Nebraska. Now I was actually live earlier covering the worst part of this storm, so if you want to check that out, be sure to do that. I plan on going live covering more severe weather in the future, so make sure to check that out. If I ever do go live again covering severe weather, it will be at 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So, get ready for that. I'm planning to do more of that in the future anyway. But anyway, let's go and break down the threats for today. Starting off the tornado threat, where we have a 5% risk of a tornado here in portions of Kansas and Nebraska. Now, this is going to include Kearney, Nebraska, Hastings, Nebraska, Hays, Kansas, and Great Bend, Kansas. And then we have a 2% risk that extends all the way down from the panhandle of Texas back up through the Oklahoma, and then Kansas, Nebraska, even going into southeastern South Dakota here. Now, moving on to the damaging wind threat for today, we have a 15% risk to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher. The main areas included in this are going to be Sioux Falls, Norfolk, Sioux City, Salina, Grand Island, and Hutchinson. So look out if you're in those regions. And then we also have a 5% risk here that extends from the Mexico border all the way back up here into like Minnesota and South Dakota. So this thing is pretty big. Now the hail threat for today is the most concerning thing, as we have a 30% chance to see hail of 2 inches or larger there in the red line circle. Now, we saw some hail earlier that was actually 3 inches in size, so we could see hail up to 3 or 4 inches tonight in diameter. I was live earlier and we had some massive hail falling in some regions, but it's only intensifying even more. So look out for the rest of the night for some potential large hail up to softball size possible. Now, moving on to tomorrow, we have a slight risk of severe weather over portions of Texas and Oklahoma here. Tornado threat for tomorrow, we have a 2% risk of a tornado here. This extends all the way down to Fort Stockton, back up into Oklahoma City and Norman. 3.3 million people are included in that risk tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 5% risk of a tornado like we did today. Damaging wind threat, we have a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher in the yellow. And then in the black circle there, we have a 15% chance to see wind gusts of 75 miles an hour or higher. That's going to include Fort Sill and Wichita Falls. And we need to be watching for the potential of an MCS to form here, because this is going to bring some significant damaging winds most likely. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 30% risk of damaging winds out of this. If that does happen, I'll go live tomorrow, once again, 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. As of right now, it's about a 50-50 if this is going to get upgraded or not. If it doesn't, I'm most likely not going to go live, but we'll see. Now, the hail threat for tomorrow, we also have a 15% risk to see hail 1 inch or larger, and then in the black circle, we have a 15% chance to see hail of 2 inches or larger once again. This extends all the way from Lubbock back up to Oklahoma City and Norman, so definitely look out for that tomorrow, okay? Now, moving on to Thursday here, we do not have any marginal risk of severe weather as of right now. If I had to guess where we could get one, I would guess somewhere in the Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas region here, just because we're going to have a cold front moving through here that could bring some storms to the Midwest and the Deep South. Now, moving on to the National Hurricane Center here, we actually have a decent amount of stuff to talk about here. So, Tropical Storm Philippe has been causing havoc on the Lesser Antilles over the past couple days, and still is continuing to. Now, this is going to go up north and make a stunning track and continue to be a tropical storm for quite a while, but we're going to break that down more later. Eastern Pacific, we now have Tropical Storm Lydia here, which is expected to head to the north, but luckily it's going to head out west instead of for California. However, this is going to form into a hurricane, and we need to make sure that it can't make it all the way to Hawaii. I doubt it can, but we need to be watching out just in case. We have this disturbance as a 70% chance to form over the next 7 days, and this could impact portions of West Mexico here. But other than that, not too concerning. Central Pacific, we do not have any disturbances. So let's go ahead and move on to the path for Philippe here. So right now, Philippe is a 45-mile-per-hour storm here near Puerto Rico and the British Virgin Islands, causing some extreme rainfall in some of these regions. We saw some flooding earlier today over here with Hurricane Philippe, or Tropical Storm Philippe, rather. We've also been seeing some very high winds, significant cloud-to-ground lightning, and more. So look out, continue to look out if you're in this region here, but it is luckily leaving your area. It's going to go up north here, and then eventually it will make it up to Bermuda, where it is expected to have a potential to make a direct impact on Bermuda here, as it's a 50-mile-per-hour storm. So Bermuda, be on the lookout for this around October 6th here at 1 p.m. Now it's going to continue to head north here, and then potentially make impacts on portions of the New England region here. But where it's really going to make its big impact is here in the New Brunswick, Maine region, also potentially New Hampshire and Nova Scotia. Now this would be significant because obviously we had Hurricane Lee only about a month ago, and this is looking to have an exact like replica of what it did, okay? If we got two high-end tropical storms to make landfall here in the span of like a month, that would be really bad, okay? We might see too much rainfall that could lead to some extreme flash flooding. Storm surge is definitely going to be possible with this, but it's just crazy that this is like the exact same situation as we had with Hurricane Lee a while ago. You know, it was out here, but then it went out west, then it turned to the north, turned into a hurricane, then turned back into a tropical storm. I guess this doesn't turn into a hurricane, but it was expected to at one point. And then it's expected to make landfall here in the Nova Scotia region. But yeah, we need to keep a close eye out on this. Now, this is going to be on October 8th, most likely. So it's going to be similar to Hurricane Lee as well in the way that we were looking at it for so long. And we've already been looking at Tropical Storm Philippe for a while now. But yeah, it's not done yet, okay? It's really not going to be good for this region here. Climate Prediction Center, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here. We have a new massive heat dome sitting here in the upper western Midwest and the interior Northwest. But it's not here yet, actually, because this is going to be for the 9th to the 13th. But in that darkest red region there, that's going to be an 80 to 90% chance to see above average temperatures from the 9th to the 13th, okay? So we're going to see some summer conditions come back here. Now, like I said earlier, we have a cold front moving through right now. It's going to bring some storms to this whole region. But more importantly, it's going to be bring below average temperatures to the eastern U.S. here from the 9th to the 13th. And the darkest shade of blue there, that's going to be a 60 to 70% chance to see below average temperatures. So that includes portions of the southern U.S., the Delmarva Peninsula, and the New England region. So look out for that. Moving on to the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook here, we're going to have an extremely likely area to see above average precipitation here from the 9th to the 13th. In the darkest shade of green there, that's a 60 to 70% chance to see above average precipitation. That includes parts of northwestern California, western Oregon, and western Washington. And then below average precipitation is going to be likely here for much of the eastern Midwest, as well as the deep south, going into the Ohio Valley region and the Appalachian region. So look out for that. In the darkest shade of brown there, that's going to be a 40 to 50% chance to see below average temperatures. We're also going to see above average precipitation. We're also going to see above average precipitation most likely here down in the deep south, including portions of Florida and Texas, and the darkest color of green down there, that's going to be a 40 to 50% chance to see above average precipitation. Now, moving on to the 8 to 14 day outlooks here, by this point, our cold front is going to be gone completely out of here, but our heat dome is still going to be sitting up here. We're going to have a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures here in the upper Midwest in the pink shade there. And we're not going to have any areas that are expected to see below average temperatures other than in Alaska. So it's going to be pretty warm across the entirety of the United States here. The only places that might not be affected by this are much of the East Coast and the Northwest. So look out for that. 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook here. We have above average precipitation likely for the southeast, and above average precipitation likely for the northwest, below average precipitation likely for the southwest, and below average precipitation likely for the northeast, you know. And then in the middle of the United States, it's kind of average, honestly, okay? So like Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Indiana, all those areas are most likely not going to see any huge precipitation differences than normal on the 11th to the 17th. So, yeah, normally I say look out for that after I'm done with this, but there's really nothing to look out for there. It's going to be very average unless you're in, like, the corners of the United States. Now, moving on to watches, warnings, and advisories, we have 2 severe thunderstorm watches in effect right now, or 2 lines of severe thunderstorm watches in effect anyway, and we actually have a tornado warning up at the time of filming this. However, at the time of uploading this, will most likely be gone. That's going to be in the Sioux Falls region here, and it is not currently producing a tornado, but it could, okay? We got some decent rotation on it, and it's heading directly for the Sioux Falls region, so we really need to be looking out for this. There were a lot of tornado warnings earlier during my stream, but there wasn't actually any tornadoes on the ground. But we might see one out of this one. I'd also like to mention here that in portions of Nebraska, as of right now, we're seeing 80-mile-an-hour winds. So maybe I didn't go live at the right time, okay? 80-mile-an-hour winds, 0.75-inch hail here in portions of Nebraska. That's a very dangerous situation. I'm just looking at the radar right now, and we are seeing, like, this crazy line of storms forming right now. Earlier, I thought it was bad, but this is turning into, like, an actual derecho scenario. I don't know if this is actually going to be classified as a derecho, but we've got severe thunderstorm warnings up and down for about, like, 130 miles. So it's over halfway to be being classified as a derecho. So we need to keep an eye out on this. I'm going to kind of make my own thing. I'm going to call it a derecho watch in this region. So, yeah, this is pretty bad right now. We got an intense line of storms moving through. Expect more tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings to be possible here in the western Midwest and the eastern Great Plains as we go into the late night hours. Now, moving on. Oh, wait. That's done. We're in. We're done. That's it. Okay. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, tomorrow I might go live if the threat gets upgraded, but otherwise definitely not. And, yeah, see you on the next one. Peace.